Sandra, something else they banned in that first game. RNG, I imagine they will go Zeri once again as a ban, and we'll see if they opt to ban the Sylas this time too.
That'll be the big question, whether they respect Knight Sylas enough to ban it even on the red side here, as the Nautilus actually taken away from RNG, denying Ming that engage tool will in fact be the Ahri. This is what RNG first picked on the blue side back in game number 2, clearly deciding that that is the most powerful champion remaining in the pool. Tian, though, just going to go back to this Viego one spot.
Yeah, so both games with Ahri blue side first pick, and that does mean Sylas is open and available, so RNG obviously clearly have a plan in place, but that's the problem with the red side, right? You just don't have as much space to ban away these things. Now, they very quickly lock in that Kalista, and they will just secure the jungler here, so leaving that third pick probably to round out with the support. They could leave support till second rotation, though it depends what top Esports do here. I'd imagine if Knight does want to play his Sylas, it's kind of now you have to lock it in. I don't think he'll survive through the second phase of bans.
Now, the question is, are you willing to go for the Sylas this early? Because the 2 ultimates available, not the greatest in the world anyway, so would be an interesting position to lock in that Sylas. But, you know, it is Knight Sylas
Knight, yeah.
At the end of the day. Like, he's just so good at this pick. I feel like it's good without the ultis, and we'll just lock it in.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone who didn't see him during summer last year, on an absolute tear on this champion, broke the solo kill record, 1v9ing on this pick. And this is very interesting if they were to go Gnar. I feel like you want to leave Gnar open because RNG, if they pick it, you give the best ult in the game to Sylas. So we'll see if they opt to go for it, go in a different direction. And they end up knocking in the Gnar. So I felt like them picking Sylas would mean RNG, you know, again, you pick Gnar and then you give... It is probably one of, if not the best ult in the game for Sylas. If you hit them into a wall, it's 150% AP ratio. And obviously, you don't have to be a mega to do it. But they opt to go for the Gnar for Wayward. Now RNG, they can only respond to mid or top. And it looks like they might be picking up a mid laner. They're going to go for the Azir. So something that can obviously cause some issues for Sylas, who is melee range. Azir, someone who can push quite heavily and apply that harass. And now go to the second rotation, looking at 80 carry bans for RNG. Whereas top esports, they can put bans towards the top lane. They can ban support as well. Amumu and Renata both open and available. That pair very well with the Kalista.
Yeah, I just want to quickly mention. Sorry,
I was just gonna say, I'd say the Amumu pairs very well, but it's one of those things where it's like, but if they pick Amumu, Knight gets an Amumu ult, right?
True. Yeah, Knight is going to get all of the good ultimates regardless of what you lock in at this point. And Knight, on that Sylas, he has played 29 games and won 20 of them across the course of his career with a 6 KDA in total. Like, this guy is a menace on the Sylas, and RNG are going to know that, and the Emperor's Divide is certainly a tool that Knight can use for himself in that mid lane. But the setup being banned away, trying to deny some of the safer lanes, or, you know, one really aggressive lane, one really safe lane from JackeyLove and Mark, and I'm curious where they end up going, because that's 3-4 AD carries banned as well as the Kalista locked in. The Lucian army available with the Renata gone, maybe it's doable.
Potentially, I feel like it's still tricky, but it depends really, because the problem is RNG might take probably will take a top laner here, leave support kind of pick to last, so can be very volatile if you end up going Lucian Nami and then end up with a lane that you don't really enjoy. But a lot of support bans have already come through. Actually going to see the Irelia coming out for Breed, so looking to really challenge the Gnar matchup. Obviously, you know, ranged, squishy champion when he's a mini, Irelia thrives on being able to jump on top of them and just squish them.
Oh yeah, and Breed, a strong Irelia player as well. This is a player that we've seen play Irelia before in the past. It's going to be a Jinx Tahm Kench on the side of top esports, so playing it safe on the bottom side. Definitely a very different look from top esports, right? Especially when you compare to like game number 1. Feels like there's a lot of different vibes, like playing a much slower game here from top esports.
Yeah, and I think the reason this works, the Tahm works, is obviously you expect an aggressive bot lane, and with Renata taking out the pool, like Kalista Renata is really problematic for a lane like Jinx Tahm, because they can just range harass constantly, and the sort of defensive tools of Tahm don't really help you out there. Whereas here, because Renata's banned, they end up going for the Rell. Still has fantastic engage, especially paired with the Kalista ultimate. Like, you can throw the Rell in, she knocks them up into a Magnet Storm, into a W as a powerful combo. But the fact that you have this Tahm and a decent lane matchup with the safety net for the Jinx later gives you powerful team fighting. And I think both teams, you know, this feels a bit more even than the other drafts we've seen. Knight does have that Sylas. I'm gonna be honest, you know, the fact that he has the Azir ultimate and the Rell ultimate, both really powerful ones that he can pick and make use of.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to quickly point out the Irelia as well. Most players, will occasionally pick an Irelia as a counter pick. Well, Breathe, it's his second most played in his entire career. He's got 28 games under his belt on the Irelia with a 61% win rate as well. So be afraid of Breathe in the top lane on that Irelia, and it's a good matchup against the Gnar as well if you can find the all-in onto the mini Gnar. But let's talk holistically then. RNG, I feel like in the driver's seat right now. They've got the momentum off of the previous game. I feel like if they can play a solid early game, if they can maintain just even standings, then once it gets to the mid and late game, they'll be the ones that are pushing forwards.
Yeah, I feel like, RNG have the favored matchup bot. RNG have a potential really volatile matchup in the top lane if they can find the window. And then mid, you kind of just have a neutralize and pick in the Azir. So I think if lanes play out as normal, RNG are pretty comfortable, but there's so much opportunity for top esports to break that up. The fact that you have the strong skirmishing duo of the Sylas and the Viego, both of them really good in extended fights, does make things trickier. So I think I said this in the first game, I don't think it's as necessary, but he kind of just wants to make sure Tian doesn't get up to any business and he can keep the lanes going up as normal. If Wayward makes a mistake, Breathe will punish him. He will find that opportunity.
Certainly look for those opportunities. Breathe knows this champion like the back of his hand. We'll see as we head into game number 3 here, Dan, between Top Esports and RNG. It's a finals rematch. It's also, I think, an upper bracket final rematch between the two teams. So exciting to see this one go through. As you can see, the Black Spear used by Knight onto Tian. The expected target there. You want to have your jungler able to be thrown in. But I can't wait to see how this one pans out. And both teams winning a game so far in their style. And kind of interestingly changing up the styles for the third game, right? Gala being much more aggressive on the Kalista. JackeyLove being much more defensive on that Jinx.
Honestly, I feel like I probably would have put the ult onto Wayward, personally. Like, just to sort of talk about that. Because I feel like throwing Wayward in is way more impactful when he's mega, right? And, like, it doesn't matter if you don't have on Tian in the mid game, because, like, as much as you may not be with Wayward, you don't have to take Gala's ult. So you can just kind of save it. And then when Wayward's mega, you launch with the enemy team. That's my thing, personally. Either way, we see Top Esports once again. This has been a consistent theme for them, enacting those early game plans and finding opportunities just to invade into the enemy jungle. Wei should be able to, if he spots this out, if he does realize that this has happened, which I mean, he doesn't have information now, but maybe saw them coming from his own jungle, should be able to just match on that side of the map, which does put Wayward in a comfortable spot.
Bit of a scrap in the bottom side at level 1. Gala and Ming really not winning it out so far. A lot of autos coming on through. Ming taken to 200 HP there by Mark. JackeyLove can return to the wave. This will be level 2 any second now from the side of Top Esports. And Gala and Ming really need to be cautious of this one. We've seen Mark all in these before. And RNG know it. They back away and allow the top level 2 spike to occur in the bottom side as they'll push this last wave in.
Yeah, just really getting harassed down. And Tahm Kench is quite a threat at level 1. He did obviously get his passive damage buffed recently, so can just out-trade the likes of the Rell. And if Rell does jump in, it won't go particularly well. So just have to take the safe. Just see that Wei hasn't seen anything of Tian. They went for that invade. They used the sweeper. They didn't allow RNG to have any information. And so Wei will now find out that he's missing some of his jungle camps. And you know what? Probably has a feeling like, not again.
Yeah, not just yet, at very least. Wei moving into this bottom side right here.
Yeah, I mean, he Sonic waved it, so he knows it's gone. Oh.
Trying to move around to Xiaohu. Caught and moving into the jungle. But Mark is here. Exhausts him. Forces the flash from Xiaohu, but the slow is still there. Tian wants to go for this one. Actually flashing on forwards. One more auto will do the trick. Oh, Knight flashes forward and gets it with the chain lash. I thought he'd escaped, but Knight never lets him get away.
So much invested there. It could have been so bad if that didn't work in the end, but they finally get it. Wei does take the boss scuttle and moves in to steal away these Krugs, so applying some pressure to JackeyLove, who is isolated. He'll have to back away. But Top Esports, as I said, a ton invested, but they get what they want. They managed to shut down Xiaohu now. Will JackeyLove risk this?
Yeah, he will.
Oh, this has to be a dive.
Of course he will, yeah. JackeyLove in all kinds of trouble here as Wei starts the fight onto him. Flame Chomper's underneath his feet. Wei actually pretty low on this one as JackeyLove flashes to safety, but Mark is here. RNG have to be a little cautious. That is so many minions that JackeyLove is missing off the back of the play. Look at the CS discrepancy between the AD carries.
Yeah, that is painful, and that's kind of the cost. You go for that extended play, your support's missing for a long time. They are able to crash it. Not exactly the start you want for your Jinx. And you have to ask, how will it manifest? Will it be worth it in the mid lane?
Oh, Tian actually dodges the stun from Breathe there. Flash from the wallop. Breathe punished with his flash down. Let's see if Tian does a similar thing to what we saw in our Weibo versus BLG series and just sticks on the top side for it.
To be fair, I think the top lane 2v2 is quite strong for RNG, and I think there isn't as much good setup. Like the thing with the Gragas into the Gangplank is that the Gragas can always set you up for gank. So I'm hoping for Breeze's sake, because it isn't as easy, it's not going to happen. But I do like at least showing some attention to the top lane. Burning the flash from Breeze does mean Wayward has a bit of an easier time, because we talked about coming out of the draft. This is not a fun matchup to play Gnar into. Playing any range champion to Irelia, apart from something like, I guess, Quinn, tends to be painful just because once she's on you, very hard to try and get her off you again.
Yeah, difficult to peel that champion, especially if she gets like Merc Treads, you know, gets a bit of tenacity in her kit as well. So difficult one to deal with up in that top side if Breathe can get ahead on it. And like we said, he's got plenty of games. This is his second most played champion in his entire career for Breathe up in that top side. So excited to see what he can do on the Irelia if he can find any opportunities to do so. But I'm keeping my eyes on these junglers as they path around the map. So far, a minor CS lead for Tian, obviously having that assist from the kill on Xiaohu in the mid lane. Xiaohu no flash for a little while longer, but I don't really feel like you're going to find much of an opportunity onto an Azir.
Yeah, it's just so hard to punish, and that's the big reason why Azir works as a neutralizer. Now, Breathe is really trying to get to that cannon in time. He does manage to get it, but ends up against the wall. I'm surprised Wayward didn't just ult him into the wall just for the trade. But regardless, you know, Breathe had the wave in a comfortable position, was able to just kind of like stabilize it.
Oh, there it is. Slammed against the wall and Breathe in big trouble. Does he have the sustain? Not even close. Just walloped down, smashed into the floor. There's a Breathe-shaped crater in top lane right now.
I think maybe Wayward is just waiting for the W to be used by Irelia. It gives pretty heavy physical damage reduction. As soon as that was thrown down, slams him to the wall, takes him out. And I don't know about you, Joe, but if I'm picking Irelia into Gnar, this isn't really how I want the lane to be going.
Not at all. Disaster for Breathe. Forced to use that TP as well while Wayward will go for the reset. RNG in the meantime, at least we'll be able to push out in that bottom side, go for the first Drake of the game. It will be a Cloud Drake going the way of RNG, but behind in gold so far. And I am really curious what this mid game is going to end up looking like, because as soon as Knight starts to get onto the map with that Sylas, that's where it tends to get a bit scary. Like Knight, once you're getting into those scraps on the Sylas, you really do have to watch your backs for RNG. A little cautious as Tian in the river right now. Wants to try and make something happen. I think he's just helping the bottom lane shove this wave in.
Yeah, I think a big thing is level 6 for both Tian and Knight is a massive spike. We obviously know all about the spike for level 6 of Viego, the fact you can get resets on your ult. But for Knight as well, you now have all these great choices to take. You can steal the Azir ult, try and do the own play back, but we'll get the replay. And yeah, so Wayward holds his ult, and then it's this moment he gets the stun. And remember, you can channel Irelia W while you're stunned, and then after that, he goes to the slam in the wall for that big damage. And Breathe, you know, he doesn't have flash, he knows he can't get away, just ends up trying to clear as many minions as he can.
I just love that animation as well. Wayward actually using an auto and the crunch to finish the kill off. It just felt so satisfying to watch. I know everyone has been bodied by an Irelia in solo queue before, and I think that's a little catharsis for everyone watching as Irelia gets smashed into the floor. Breathe, though, not having the greatest series ever for himself. Like, game number 1, obviously not really his fault in game number 1, just got ganked repeatedly. Now game number 3, getting caught out by Wayward in the 1v1. And getting set behind on Irelia. Like you said, it's not necessarily just a counter matchup, it's a volatile matchup. Whichever way it goes, it starts to get really tough for the opponent.
And I feel like Breathe has the most to prove of this roster, right? If you look at RNG, I see 4 MSI champions. And I see one person who isn't reigning MSI champion. New addition to the roster. A lot of expectations to step into Bin's shoes. Now, RNG have committed heavily to that Herald. Is something we talked about before the series. How much they lean on it. What I love from Top Esports is they aren't contesting, and they are leaving JackeyLove bot to pick up plates for himself. The Jinx as well, someone who with the minigun is so good at just picking up those plates. if you're going to commit. If you're not going to commit, then make sure you do something like this and pick up the resources across the map.
And crucially as well, this is something that top esports have done time and time again. Ignore the Herald and just let JackeyLove get plays. We talked about the stats earlier on today, how RNG, really high percentage of the first Herald of the game, but really low percentage of the first tower of the game. Whereas it's the opposite statistics for top esports. They always, or almost always, get first tower for themselves, and they never focus on Herald. And it's because they do this so often. They love to just let the AD carry hammer away while the other team is distracted by the Herald.
And we do see Knight finishing his mythic has gone for the crown of the Shadow Queen. So normally we always saw Everfrost for Sylas, then Everfrost got nerfed, obviously. And with the crown, you know, when you get to those fights, have that extra bit of durability. Obviously, the downside is Xiaohu should be able to proc it reasonably easily when he gets to the window. But definitely just showing there isn't as much of a you must build Everfrost. It was also something that was buffed. Got some extra AP when they did the sort of item switch up for the AP items and gave some of them some buffs and nerfs. They should have a decent amount of power available, and it still gives all the stats you love on Sylas, like health, AP, mana.
Yeah, and also just the reduced damage income, right? When you're playing something like Sylas, just being a bit tankier is always going to be nice for you when you're in the middle of the scrap. So feels good for Knight to have that item fairly early on as well, with 10.5 minutes into the game, as Gala needs to be a little cautious. We'll back away as the push in favor of top esports on the bottom side. Drake not up for another 90 seconds, but this will be the point over the next, you know, sort of minute where both teams are going to be vying for vision control around that Drake once more.
Yeah, top esports really want the second Drake. It's a lot better when you're trading the first two, so no one can stack up an early soul too quickly. Kind of takes a lot of pressure off the third one, because, you know, if you don't have an ideal setup for it, you can just take it. Whereas RNG, you know, they would love to get the second dragon, but if they see a window to place the Herald, that is the main thing. It is still in pocket. Way still has that. If they make top esports overcommit for that dragon and they can find an opportunity, maybe some damage in the mid lane tower or even a whole tower in the side lane, I do think particularly they'd love to get some gold on the breathe, but it looks like with them setting up on the bot side, that might not be the game plan.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I will say, if the top laners stay top, this is not a Drake that I think RNG should contest at all, right? Because you have TP available for Wayward. You don't have it on Breathe. That's a 4v5. Even if it's mini Gnar, that's still enough of a champion that you're going to win a 4v5. So they do have to be cautious. Gala might be caught in the bottom side as Mark goes forward, but actually just going to be bashed about himself. Flame Chompers to deny any further engage. There's a Fate's Call way into the play as well, and Mark's gone already. It's already won for RNG. But now the rest of top esports, they're not backing away anytime soon. JackeyLove running out of mana, though. Can't blast any more rockets out. And in goes Xiaohu with the Empress Defied, but what? No, it was Knight's Empress Defied. Oh my days, my mind is blown.
Manages to disengage what could have been a huge play for Xiaohu there. Knight, fantastic performance there to stop that from happening. Reads it quite well, but still RNG find favor. They get the kill. Herald down for some plates. They should be able to translate it into a dragon if they want. It appears they've used their pressure and fearing resets. They don't want to overcommit. Remember, Breathe not with the TP available yet, but oh my... This isn't how the match is supposed to go, Joe.
Yeah, Breathe is getting bodied right now. At Knight, out Shurima-ing Shurima himself. It's a tough one right now for RNG, as they're a little bit behind in gold, and the Drake started once again. Xiaohu trying to contest for vision here. I think we might just have a little repeat of the Drake fight down in the bottom side.
Yeah, so this is so ambitious to try and connect the W on a Gala, and then they just turn it around. And ultimately, Mark, you know, you want to be saving someone. You don't want to be the one in the mess, because he doesn't get to use his eat. And then this moment, Knight really saving the team. Comes down, and not only does he... Oh, we don't get a replay.
We don't get to watch it again, because Ming is caught. Rocky comes on in. Ming low, but they can't quite finish it off. Tian, a bit greedy for that one. Needs to back away once more. Xiaohu getting damage down as Gala threatens on the bottom side of the play. And look at this, RNG regrouping, trying to posture, trying to position to fight this one, but the Drake already so low will be taken down for top esports. And actually, Jinx getting excited. That's big damage out from JackeyLove. He's CC'd. Can they finish the AD carry off? He backs off into the pit though and will survive. Way the one low. Resets galore for the side of top esports. It's one for Gala on the back of the play, but JackeyLove is chasing him down. The rockets are flying, flashed over the wall, dodges the zap, and I don't think top esports can dive it.
And top esports get everything they want and more there. They get the dragon, they get the kills, and RNG just overcommit a bit too much. Knight massive there, stealing away the Rell ultimate. and having a devastating effect in that fight. The resets start to come in, as you say, and there will be so much momentum. If Tian, if JackeyLove get those resets, they can just run over a fight.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous stuff from Top Esports, and this is the scary situation for RNG because Knight is 2-0-2 on his Sylas. He's already finished his mythic, he's headed towards more items, and he's got himself that Dark Seal, that signature item for Knight, and we'll see if he can keep this ball rolling.
And he has the Rell ult here, and the Rell ult actually has 110% AP ratio of its duration. So they fly in, JackeyLove gets saved, Knight pops the ultimate, and he's just burning everyone nearby while also doing, you know, typical Sylas damage. Xiaohu sure got the good shuffle, but because JackeyLove was safe, he doesn't get hit. The rest of them are too bulky, and suddenly your Azir is in melee range of a team he does not want to be in melee range of. And now, looks like Top Esports making a play towards the top side. Ult will actually spot our way.
Yeah, so JackeyLove's trying to stop the recalls there, but accidentally scouts the fact that RNG are trying to cheese him. I feel like that was more coincidence than it was planned.
Accidentally a great play.
Yeah, exactly. Keeps himself safe. And in the meantime, Wayward's hammering away on the tower. JackeyLove instead going for the red buff. Xiaohu's here as is Way. Who's going to get it? Zap comes down onto the red buff. JackeyLove's out of mana again, though. No flash available. Xiaohu looking for the Emperor's Divide, but Mark saves his AD carry's life. And Knight, with his own Emperor's Divide, doesn't go for anything more.
And you know, Top Esports are happy with that. They get the top lane tower, they get the first tower blood, and JackeyLove gets the red buff, right? That's everything they want from that situation. RNG, you know, they do answer, but they are down in gold. They don't have the advantage of the dragon. And on top of that, because Top Esports make a play on the top side, they'll get the Herald as well.
Yeah, beautiful stuff from Top Esports and starting to build a bit of a lead. And this is the scary situation for RNG. To when Top Esports have that snowball starting to build up, and it feels like the gold is in the right spots as well. We already talked about Knight being 2-0-2, but JackeyLove 102, getting good CS, not getting shut down there, getting that red buff, as you say. The Herald now in pocket, they can start to take more of these towers, start to build a bit of a lead for these carries. That's where it becomes real dangerous for RNG.
I think especially after that first game of the split, you know, we saw countless games where Top Esports have a lead early in playoffs last split. These two teams faced each other twice. Top Esports would crush most early games and then fall apart. But that game one, Top Esports showing their evolution, the fact that they were controlled, tempered, didn't overstep and close the game out, means this 2,000 gold lead does feel intimidating, especially, as you said, with picks like the Jinx for JackeyLove. Sylas for Knight can be very difficult. Now we have a minute and a half until that next dragon, and we have the Herald in pocket for Top Esports, so they can throw that down mid and use that pressure to get access to the dragon area. You can see, because RNG were making a play on the bot side, they kind of have the control over that area for now.
Yeah, feels like this is going to be a matter of RNG trying to maintain that control, but you know, it's a long time until that Drake, and they probably want to go for a reset before that happens. So inevitably, Vision likely to swing in favor of Top Esports in the meantime. We'll have to see. Because it's one dragon apiece right now, Mountain Soul, but neither team needs to fight for this Drake. Like, in terms of, if the second Drake goes over, it's not the end of the world. He says tentatively.
Of course they do. It's just, it's imprinted in them, right? This is the LPL. You don't pass up a window like this. Top Esports are ahead, therefore they want to fight to maintain their lead. Whereas RNG are behind, so therefore they want to fight to recover the disadvantage. It's simple.
Living up to MLXG's reputation. That rocket hit, but Ming was in the last half second of his recall. So still actually gets to go back to base there. TP coming through from Xiaohu from bot to mid lane here. They want to deny the Herald. Can they get the damage down? The answer is no. The Herald does get the charge. Will mean priority for Top Esports. They've got vision control of the river.
That's what they were going for, right? They get the Herald down, and so as a result, they have control of the area. Now it's up to RNG to try and force their way in here. Wayward is trying to stack up his Gnar bar with his Q, but still a while away.
Yeah, no rocket for JackeyLove either. Halfway on that cooldown as Drake started by Top Esports. Knight hiding in Fog of War right now. If he doesn't have any ultimate stolen for the time being, we'll have to see what he grabs for himself as he enters the fray. But I think RNG realizing this is a bit dangerous. Knight moving in from the side as well. Chain Lash there, damage on Breathe. Forces them away. And Top Esports, very controlled play here. Not overstaying, not over pushing. This is what we were talking about game number one. A much more tempered Top Esports than what you might be used to.
Yeah, using the Mega Gnar well as a zoning tool. The threat of Wayward is enough to force him away. Knight as well on the flank. Now, they're trying to push in here. Knight could look for something. He could steal Ming's ult here.
Certainly could try and find an engage. You don't have Mega Gnar, though, so it is a little dangerous as JackeyLove gets some damage down. Flashes forward here. Knight has Ming's ultimate, as you say, but only one target to use it on for the time being. JackeyLove sends a rocket. He's going to try and colonize Mars with that one, I think.
Yeah, importantly enough, they defend the mid-tier 1, right? Colonizer Mars can wait, and at the time, RNG will go for the reset. So Top Esports got what they wanted, but they didn't overstep. They managed to maintain their lead and just pick up their second dragon.
Yeah, so Top Esports do grab themselves the Drake and crucially actually defend that tier 1, right? Which I wasn't really convinced they were going to be able to. I was envisioning a bit of a throw there. Tian really wants the Scuttle Crab. It's a 2v2. Why not? Xiaohu actually gets out-ulted and forced to flash over the wall. Wayward TP's in. Knight can't find the knock-up though. And Xiaohu dodges the slow. He's out with his life.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? We were thinking the Mountain Dragon was the big objective, but in reality, the Scuttle Crab is what these teams are willing to die over. And Xiaohu has to burn his flash, but is traded for Knight's. Knight's not quite able to connect the stun. And Wayward even burning TP there to make it happen. So Knight's going to have to actually... I mean, I'm not sure that TP was necessary. He TP'd from base, by the way. I think he saw JackeyLove walking towards the wave, and he was like, no chance, buddy. This wave is mine.
Yeah, JackeyLove going for the red buff in the end, moves back towards the mid lane. I guess just setting up for where they want to be on the map. I'm not sure. Either way, it's going to be kind of...
We've all done that in solo queue when someone's walking towards the wave, and we've TP'd in like, no chance.
That's my favorite thing about playing Ezreal, is you get to run TP, so you can TP to the waves that you want. Knight trying to buy a little bit of space. It's very dark in that jungle for both sides, but the thing is, Breathe has the tier 1 tower, Knight does not, so if he gets caught out, if he pushes too far, he will get punished for that one. As JackeyLove tries to move in, wants to get some damage onto Ming. Does need to be a little cautious. He's awfully lonely right now.
Yeah, wants to kind of wait till Tahm Kench. That's the thing with JackeyLove. You can never tell. Is he playing aggressive because it's JackeyLove, or does he have his whole team in the shadows behind him? It's a flip to try and find out. Now, we do see them pushing in mid here. RNG have to respond to defend their tier 1. In the meantime, they're applying some pressure to that bot tower. They should just be able to pick this one up for free.
I think you have to quote the Prophet Crumbs in this kind of situation. The enemy team can't know what I'm doing if I don't know what I'm doing, right? Is that Crumbs or is that Cutie Pie? I forget. It's one of the Dignitas boys anyway. It's one of that gang. Yeah, bit of a tough one to read JackeyLove. He's an enigma, that is for sure. 5-2 on the scoreboard, and it feels like this game is going to revolve entirely around Drakes.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, as much as Top Esports have a lead, it's not enough that they consistently can find advantages. I'm saying that. A lot of damage coming out.
Squeezing out. This is the thing. When you see JackeyLove on Jinx, it's this teamfight AD carry, but even just when the enemy team is vaguely nearby, he's in teamfight mode. He's getting as many autos out as he can. He's getting every single scrap of damage that is possible to get out of this Jinx.
I don't think JackeyLove goes out of teamfight mode. I don't think he has another mode.
He genuinely believes he's in TFT right now. He's one of the sprites. Yeah, JackeyLove, he's a man of his own. We talk plenty about JackeyLove and what kind of a player he is. I feel like Mark as well has kind of developed a lot while being on Top Esports. When you think about Mark on LGD, it was like this player that plays a lot of Nautilus, goes in whenever he sees an opponent, whether it's good or bad. And I feel like that's still somewhat the case with Mark, but a little bit more tempered and willing to play things like this Tahm Kench, willing to play for JackeyLove as opposed to just being an engaged tool. I feel like he's a much more three-dimensional player these days. Which is important. I think, especially when JackeyLove, sometimes you do need to play that defensive role to provide for him because he is very aggressive, and it means they have the versatility to go for bot lanes like this. Now, you see RNG able to get the mid tower, and because Top Esports reset later, they're going to have control of the area. Something I want to note is we have the elixir picked up by Wayward. So investing that gold to be as strong as possible for this fight. They know that this one, with the Baron up and available, if someone wins this fight handily, that could mean you're able to convert it into that other objective. Yeah, it would be the third Drake for Top Esports as well. That would be Soul Point if they can grab it in a Mountain Soul. Absolute nightmare for Kalista and Irelia. RNG just trying to brute force this one. As in goes Knight to the back of the plate, and immediately Tian just walks up and smites it. It's just daylight robbery. RNG kicked out of the pit by Top Esports. And you know what? You mentioned that Baron. It would be dicey, but I wouldn't put it past him.
I think they'll take mid-tier 1 for now. I'm not sure they're going to go with the Baron. Wayward has popped his Elixir, though, so the heavy investment for that extra health, the extra size, and that little trail behind him has come in. You can see they're trying to use this momentum. They should be able to get this tier 2 tower.
Yeah.
Will RNG
maybe
respond?
some picks. In goes Wayward, diving onto Breathe. He's low on HP, but surviving. Ming onto everyone. Wayward locked up and taken down here as Breathe flashes out to the back of the plate. Rocket for a bit of damage, but it's just 1 kill for RNG and way too much bitten off by Top Esports.
Yeah, and I mean, Top Esports, it's a 1-for-1. Actually, no, it's not 1-for-1. They didn't even kill him. Sorry, it's just like 0-for-1. So RNG happy with that one, but they still lose those 2 towers. They still lose the dragon. Top Esports still favored in this overall play, but an unnecessary aggression coming out there and ends up backfiring for them. And now the gold lead still in favor of Top Esports, but it hasn't really expanded since that earlier point of the game. It's kind of kept level, and this game, as much as Top Esports, they have the lead, they have the dragon advantage, it still feels on a knife edge. If one team gets a big team fight, that will just turn the game heavily in their favor. They can capitalize on it, translate that into barons and such.
And you can feel how close this is, how tense this is, as Top Esports trying to brute force this one. They do get onto Breathe, but it's not able to follow up for the rest of the damage.
Yeah, and unfortunately that big AoE combo. One of the things as well is because Knight went for the kick instead of something like the ult from the Rell. Didn't have that like constant AoE damage. And RNG doing a good job of like juggling in and out and not staying in the fight too long to go down. Now, can sort of take stock of the game at this point, because I feel like 3 minutes, right, we're looking at that is going to be the pivotal point of the game. Either RNG stop the Drake stacking, stop the soul, or they are really going to struggle from there on out. And it looks like they ain't willing to wait for 3 minutes. Let's just flip a dragon.
They just do Baron.
They're in vision.
They're on a ward.
Yeah.
They're really on a ward. They've got a ward, control ward in the back of the pit, but they don't realize that Knight has full information of this one. They don't know that Knight is just over that wall as well. Way stunned up by the Baron. He's real low on HP. He's got to try and dive to the rest of his team. The blast code denied by Tian and forces the flash out from Way. And now Top Esports straight onto the worm themselves.
They'll just turn onto it. Do have to be careful. Way can still steal with the Sonic Wave into Smite. Oh, it's Top Esports. Of course they're going to go for it.
Oh my days, this is so close. Xiaohu forced away as Knight takes the Emperor's Divide. 3k on the Baron. Way has to earn his paycheck here, has to go for the Smite steal. Ming into the pit here to buy vision to try and survive here. Fate's Call comes on out. Sonic Wave onto the Baron and Top Esports.
Got Mega.
They're just doing this all day long. Wayward kicked away. Way finds it! Unbelievable! Way gets a kill, gets the Baron, and keeps RNG in the game.
The kick as well, fantastic. They made the call. They're like, Wayward has Mega. He can ult Way into the terrain, CC him, but he kicks him away just as the bar fills up, dives in. And I mean, for a play that was so messy, RNG find a window in. Really excellent. That's why Top Esports are stalling. They are literally stalling for Wayward to get Mega. And just watch how Way plays this one. It's fantastic.
Yeah, buys a bit of time, kicks the Gnar away while queuing in. Look at that. The mechanics to pull that off are just beautiful.
Yeah, and then the rest of them end up getting away, so it's a 1-for-1. They get the Baron. I was talking about how it's a bit of concern going towards this dragon, the fact it could be sold for Top Esports. Now RNG have the Baron to play around with, and you got to remember, it's not just the pushing power, you also get those extra stats from the Baron as well. Perfect timing, because they will have those up and available for that dragon fight in a minute.
Yeah, and you know, Dragon's not up for another minute, but the teams are posturing already. The fight for vision begins. And I feel like that's been the war of this game. It's not really been about team fights. It's been about the fight for vision. And now with Baron, it becomes so much more difficult for Top Esports to be in a position to contest this next strike that, like you said, is so pivotal in this game.
We've had some big item spikes come in, though. Knight just finished the Rabadons. We have the Infinity Edge for JackeyLove, but on the other side, you can see items being rounded out for RNG as well. This is like prime position to have a fight, but for now, RNG, with that extra pushing power from the Baron, with the turret being placed down by the Azir, they really have control of the area. Bear in mind, I know I laughed about it before, Top Esports don't actually have to contest this one, but it looks like they are vying to do so regardless.
Tian actually has a flank angle here, and it means that Top Esports buy a bit more vision control of their own jungle here. A couple more wards going down. They need a ward in the pit if they can. As the rest of the team moving on over. Knight has TP available. There is a ward. Look at that control ward at the blue buff right there. Perfect flank angle for Knight as the TP's on in. And now we'll have to see what RNG have in the tank.
Already comes down to this. Can JackeyLove get the resets? Can Tian get the resets in this fight? See RNG
Wayward.
wary of the flank potential. And there's Mega.
Wayward's turn. Mega Gnar. It's going to be the engage coming out. TES need to find the smite, and they do. There's the soul. Knight on the backside, straight onto Gala here. He needs defending, but the rest of the team not there. Wayward low though. Free gains some resets. Gala still surviving for the time being. Chain Lash, and a Kingslayer comes on through, taking down RNG. One by one, they fall. JackeyLove lives through as Knight takes their name.
And the Knight Sylas comes through huge again. They get the soul. They do not care that RNG had the Baron, had the stats. They're able to find it. Mark saving JackeyLove, keeping him alive till the end. And as the reset started to come through, the extra shielding for the Mountain Soul as well, Top Esports are able to take it and should just be able to look for the end here.
They're going to be able to brute force this one. 5 seconds on Way, but he's a one-man army. Mark happy to tank the towers to make sure that JackeyLove can fire away. Way has to come in, has to jump into the middle of everyone just to try and survive, just to buy time for his team. But the Nexus low, Way falls. Half health on that Nexus is JackeyLove still going strong, but they're just going to kill the players of RNG. They take the numbers advantage and they go in. Breathe now tries, but Knight with another double. And that is the series. Top Esports win out their grudge match. They take down their 2022 rivals.
First time in a while they've been able to take out RNG in a series after getting, beaten out by them in the playoffs. RNG going off to MSI and winning the tournament, but Top Esports have answered back. And the manner in which they did it, a complete stomp in game one. But this game, they had the lead. They even slipped a bit. The Baron picked up by RNG, but despite that, they found their way back into the game, recovered, which is something we didn't often see from them in playoffs in spring, often falling short when RNG were able to claw their way back into it. So fantastic from them.
Yeah, awesome stuff coming out from Top Esports. Knight finding that flank on the control ward, getting the Emperor's Divide, denying access to the entire fight from Gala, basically. Gala did not get to influence the final fight and just diving on in. And I feel like these compositions led to these fights just being an absolute brawl. Like everyone just piling on one another. Everyone pulled in by the Rell. Everybody smashed about by the Azir and the Sylas pretending to be Azir. Like felt like just pure chaos. But then Top Esports managed it. Like they thrive in chaos. Chaos is what they live for.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to say, Wayward had a fantastic game, right? Playing the Gnar into the Irelia. That was my point of concern, honestly, for Top Esports, is if Wayward ends up getting punished, ends up falling behind, the Irelia can completely dominate that matchup. Not only gets a solo kill, but really manages to hold strong and deliver in team fights. Knight on a Sylas, as you said. I mean, do we expect anything else? But really showing what we can do. And when we have these chaotic team fights, the ones that we think, RNG should thriving. Their target selection's so good, but it just felt like they couldn't find the edge. And Top Esports really shone through, getting the resets for Tian, getting the resets for JackeyLove. But this has just been a fantastic series. I mean, commiserations to RNG. I'm sure they're fine about losing this series, but both teams really showing what cream of the crop, top of the table LPL teams can do.
Absolutely. And RNG, I think being given a lifeline here, the fact that they get this loss out of the way before playoffs, because Top Esports have evolved. This is not the same beast that you fought in spring. This is a team that is way more well thought out.
Look at that spike at the end of the goal graph.
Yeah. That's 2 team fights back to back is what that is.
Joe, you joked about colonizing Mars. That looks like the path, the trajectory towards it.
Yeah, that's the rocket taking off. Well, colonizing the series, that is for sure. Yeah, phenomenal stuff from Top Esports. And I have to say, RNG now, as they look towards playoffs, these are both teams that you anticipate being in playoffs. These are teams that I anticipate being in the top 4, to be honest. We'll have to see. I just can't wait. I can't wait until the next time these guys fight. I can't wait until it's a best of 5 again.
100%. I mean, it's such a fantastic game, honestly. I'm glad the series delivered, because we kind of got like the stompy game 1, not as stompy, but like still quite one-sided game 2, and then game 3. It was so hard to call. It was such a battle between them both, and it's what you love to see. The fact that we get these just, these games, not even match of the week, by the way, Joe, and we get to see this sort of, this clash. Yeah.
What a clash to see. What a clash to see. What a way to kick off your Saturday. Like, this has been absolutely fantastic. And we, all 3 series today were incredibly fun as well. Like, Wayward versus BLG,